Hey everyone, it's Annalise coming to you today again from Nagasaki. And today I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the experience I'm having building a house here in Nagasaki because it's so different from anything I've ever been through in the States. And it's really telling and inspiring in some ways. So, first of all, from a sustainability point of view, I'm working with a building company and written into the contract, not requested by me is the promise that the entire building project will be net zero. And this is just a commitment that all of the building companies, the major ones, have. They will plant new forests to make up for any CO2 emissions from the building process and do everything they can to keep those emissions to a minimum. But also the products themselves that they use are so different. For example, the walls of our new house will be made out of crushed seashells. Why? Because it turns out that seashells have this incredible durability, breathability, and of course, no emissions involved in using them. The house itself will be entirely off the grid, and it will be a tiny house. When my partner and I asked about, you know, could we make it bigger? The building company looked at us and said, "There are just two of you. You don't need more space than this." And there was just a sense of, no, we won't sell you more than you need. You will live in a space that's the size that's appropriate for you. And indeed, every inch of this house has at least one use, if not multiple uses. And so it actually is very, I think, very comfortable, even though it's just tiny by American standards. Um, there's also a space in the back of the house where we are expected to grow our own vegetables. And it's just something everyone does, something what everyone has as part of their home, just like having a bathroom or any other necessary part. You're expected to grow your own food. We're also lucky because our neighbors on both sides of us are fisher people, and it's been suggested, well, you will buy your fish from the people next door, which again makes things more sustainable. It's interesting also the process of buying land. In the process of identifying a piece of property that we wanted to build on, we discovered that there was an old house there that had sort of been fallen into decay, is no longer usable. It's completely, collapsed after many, many years, maybe even hundred of years of non-use. But behind that house was a well that someone had created. And so the building company said, well, we have to put a line item in the construction process. We've got to deal with the spirit of that well because we're going to have to fill in the well, and there's a spirit in the well. And so we have to invite a Shinto priest to come to cleanse the spirit of the well so that nothing bad comes to everyone who comes to our home as a result. And it's interesting, it's just part of the construction process. Um, uh, Another surprising thing to me from a US point of view is that when you buy a home that have it built, everything is maintained for at least 30 years, if not longer, by the company that builds it. And I mean everything. Like they come and take care of the garden for you, every little maintenance thing. And so, really, the whole process is shockingly reasonable when you take into account the fact that you will have absolutely no expenses related to owning this property. It's a little bit like if you buy a car in the US, sometimes you can get a policy and everything is included in terms of the maintenance. Well, that's sort of the approach with homes here too. But the most interesting part to me has been the reaction of people in Nagasaki. Japan is suffering from major population decline, and a lot of young people want to live in the big cities in Tokyo and Osaka. And when I tell people in shops or anywhere here, oh, I'm building a house, I'm going to be moving to Nagasaki, the joy in people's faces is just incredible. And they say, what is it that's so great about Nagasaki? And I tell them, well, it's the beautiful landscape. And they say, that's true. And the fish is delicious. That's true. But the people are just so wonderful and they're so happy. And it's just wonderful to see the joy that people have in welcoming somebody new into their community. The whole process has been shockingly easy and really shockingly reasonable in terms of the cost. So if this is something that interests you, please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to encourage more folks to think about coming here to beautiful Nagasaki. All right, that's all for me this week. See you next week. Bye.